And in just under 12 minutes' time, the Proteas men's side are set to begin their home summer of cricket after a false start in Durban this past weekend. Gqeberha is hosting South Africa's second T20 international against India in what's a three-match series. Joining us now to preview the match and to look into cricket matters in general is analyst Gift Xaka. He joins us via Zoom. A very good afternoon. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. So South Africa have won the toss. Aiden Markram, our skipper for the Proteas, has decided that he wants to bowl first. How important is winning the toss at St. George's Park, and is that the right decision?
I think it's very important to win the toss anywhere in the world. It sets the mood, unless you win it and you make a bad decision. I think it is a good decision. It should be very hard to chase under lights at St. George's. And I think with Markram is trying to see, the new combinations, to find the new combinations for the World Cup and see how the boys will take it in terms of, bowling first. Because we know we just came from the World Cup where the guys were more comfortable in terms of batting first. So it's a very good decision, and we can see how will the team move forward going from now until the next World Cup.
Let's speak a little bit about the importance of the timing of this series and the quality of the opposition for South Africa. Let's hope that the match isn't interrupted by rain. Obviously, the first T20 international that was scheduled was abandoned without a ball being bowled due to the adverse weather in KZN this past weekend. But it looks as if the light drizzle has been suspended in the Eastern Cape, and that play will get underway at 5 o'clock for this second T20 international. But the timing of this series for South Africa, in light of the fact that the World Cup, the T20 World Cup, is in June, doesn't give much time for T20 internationals for South Africa to get those combinations right. Yeah,
this is an important series. This is actually the final series before South Africa make an announcement for the World Cup squad next year. They've got this series, and then they've got one in West Indies against the West Indies. So the timing of this is a crucial series for the Proteas. It's crucial also for India to get those combinations right. So both teams are looking to get their combinations sorted before the next World Cup. But for South Africa, especially, it's a crucial one because they will have to announce, the T20 World Cup squad after this series. So they have to play. They have to get those combinations right. And we know that some of the big players are not part of this series, but it's important for those new players and those that maybe the coach would want to take with him to the World Cup to get an opportunity or get a run. I think the biggest benefit, the person that will benefit a lot in this series will be Reza Henry. The public has been trying to see him going out there to play, and he can finally show what he's made of. So it's a very important and a crucial series actually for both teams.
It's also a big one for, you mentioned the new players, Matthew Gqeberha. He has played just one T20 international for South Africa. He is local to the conditions for today, but in his first outing out for the country, it was against Australia in September, only managed 5 runs.
It doesn't get better for Matthew. It's Australia, then now it's India. So he's always getting an opportunity when it's the tougher positions. But I think that's what will make him to be the better in the future. So I hope he grabs the opportunity, and he knows the conditions better than any player in the change room. So I hope he grabs the opportunity and scores some runs, and hopefully gets the ticket to the World Cup. But I'm interested in seeing what Gqeberha can do, one of our left-arm seamers, to see what he can do at this series, because we know it's a very scarce skill in South Africa to have a left-arm seamer. So it's very exciting for me to see what Gqeberha can do.
What do you expect will happen in today's match?
Well, T20s it's everyone's game. It's all about taking care of those minor decisions, those decisions that we tend to ignore, cutting those ones, taking your chances, your half chances, make them into complete chances. Bet well, have big runs. If you're bowling, bowl it tight. Just keep it together as a team. So I'm expecting South Africa to win. They know the conditions better. but I'm not going to write off the Indians. They are the masters when it comes to T20 games. So hopefully the Proteas win and take the momentum going forward. But I think the Proteas stand a good chance of winning. I think the new guys will put up their hand. They want the ticket to the World Cup, and they always play for the nation. So I'm expecting the Proteas not to disappoint and win this.
What is not going right for the team, the T20 team specifically? If we look back at their last 4 results, it's 4 L's. They haven't managed to secure a victory, and that dates back to almost the beginning of 2023. What's not gelling in that team?
I don't think it's a matter of there's something wrong. I think that the coaches, remember they were building up to next year's World Cup. I think they're trying to give everyone a chance, get the combos going. And I hope with this series we'll have the finalization in terms of getting those combinations right. And then when they go to play West Indies, they will have, the combinations sorted. And then we can start seeing the type of brand that the coach wants to play, and we're going to start seeing the Proteas winning. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I know it's good to always have that winning mentality and win games so that, you take that momentum forward. But I think for South Africa, they were trying to get the combinations right so that by the time they get to the World Cup, they know who can do what, and the players understand their roles as well.
The fact that the World Cup that's going to be taking place in the USA and the West Indies in June next year is only a couple of months away makes the SA20 all that much more important.
Yeah, well, SA20 will always be important. I think most of the players here are using it as a platform for those big international leagues. And for the Proteas, I hope that, most of them, they are available, no injuries. And then they get to play and then get some game time, get some mileage. And by the time they head off to West Indies, they've got a couple of runs, behind them and a couple of wickets. That should be good for South Africa going to West Indies and the USA.
As we start to wrap up this conversation, you mentioned Nandre, Matthew, as well as Reza. Who else in the T20 team excites you and you looking forward to seeing that also can really stake their claim in that World Cup squad?
Well, Donovan Ferreira is the name that comes to mind now. I'd like to see him, exploding and playing freely. And expressing himself. Tristan Stubbs, I don't think he has cemented his place in the team, so that would be interesting to see how he goes about it. But for me, Nadre is the player that I'm excited to see. Reza, the long run that he's going to get, I'm excited to see what he can do. We know Reza has been in the setup for long, but he hasn't been given a chance. We've seen what the long run can do in a player like Henrik Klaasen. He has been given the long run, and we saw what he can do. So I'm hoping that Reza takes this opportunity and score runs, and Nadre can show the South African public what he's made of. Because I don't think most people will know what Nadre can do, but I would like to see him perform at the international stage, actually.
Gift, we're speaking about testing combinations and seeing which ones will work for South Africa ahead of the World Cup. Is this not something that should have been done a year ago?
I totally agree with you. It should have been done a year ago, but you don't want your team to peak too early. You don't want the teams going to the World Cup to know the strengths and the weaknesses of your team. You don't want them to start analyzing you too early. I think that's very smart in terms of the coaches, in terms of delaying and trying to give the broader pool of players a chance to be part of the team. I think in the coach's mind, he knows more or less about 20 odd players that he would like to take, and he knows more or less about 15 of those players that will be his to-go players. But I think the coaches, the technical staff, they more or less have an idea of who they want to take, but I think it's just one or two guys that they would like to see against the international bowlers, against the international batters, what they can do. But all in all, I believe that South Africa, they know their combinations already, but they're just trying to give a broader pool of players a chance. Who knows, we might have a surprise package at next year's World Cup, someone that we never seen at international cricket, and he goes there and becomes a top player. So yes, you are right. It should have been done a year ago, but I think this process of this T20 World Cup has started maybe two years ago. When you prepare a professional team, I think this process has started 2 years ago already. So it is a process, but now they're just doing the final preparations for the World Cup.
Gift Xaka is a cricket analyst and cricket coach. Thanks for your time here on Newzroom Afrika. That's how we come to the end of your sport. Your headlines are next.